Hello Reborn family, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. We're back with both Aspens. They're both out of the oven from getting their preliminary blushing and stuff in their creases. And I also have Leaf has gotten his 2 bakes for his sealer and we're ready to do some creasing on him. Hectic day, I have to say. I had to stop and do some cooking and stuff, and you notice I haven't posted a lot of videos today because it's been a very, very hectic day. I'm trying to take it a little bit slow today. I'm just very, very, very tired. And I'm going to crease Leaf and get him back in the oven. And I'll do his preliminary blushing as well. And then they'll all be on the same level. That'll be great. And I'm trying to get this pencil sharp. Ugh. Your pencils can actually really whittle down when you're sharpening them a lot. Okay. We're going to get him creased nice and good so he'll be up on the same level as the 2 Aspens. And we can then move forward all together with all of them together. I don't want to move forward with just 1 or 2 of them. I want them to be on pretty much the same level. Oh. I'm going to be calling it quits early today. It's nearly 4 o'clock already and I've not gotten that much done today, which I don't know, all that baking of these kits was what caused me to be behind a little bit today. So I guess a kit a day has ended already. I'm just tuckered out, tired, and I don't want to do a kit a day today. I'm going to do 3 kits, and I don't know how long it's going to take me. Let's put it that way. I'm taking my time. For one thing, I want them to be very, very good. So when you want something to be very, very good, you kind of have to take your time. Anybody can slop paint on a kit real, real fast. But if you want to pay any attention to details or any kind of neatness, you have to kind of take it a little bit slower sometimes. I mean, you don't have to go creepy slow, but you know what I mean. You don't need to just slather it on it as fast as you can either. You need to make sure you're not leaving puddles and you're not leaving streaks and you're getting every part covered, you know, that kind of stuff, because we do want to make the best baby that we can. Because people who want to look at your babies, they're not just going to look at your babies. They're going to look at a lot of babies. I've just been scrolling through eBay myself trying to find some kits I wanted. And it's a hard decision because there's so many out there and you have to pick the one that you want over all the rest. And it's more so that way with a finished doll. It's not just a kit anymore. It's now a baby and they're looking for one that appeals to them. And what appeals more than one that has realism? Now, there's only a certain amount of realism that you should expect to get in your doll. And then you're just overstepping the realism boundary, I think. But you can get them pretty realistic looking without going as far as some people try to go. And they do look extremely good. And people like them. Oh, my phone just went off all by itself. Huh, okay. I'm trying to monitor my messages a little bit because I've just been slammed with messages today. eBay messages, because I did send out a lot of questions to people about kits I wanted. I always try to remember to question them. Because when you're buying kits from an individual, you have to be a little more careful than if you're buying them from a company. You have to ask them questions like, does it have any bad odors? Or does it have any stains on it? Did you already start painting it? Because they will fail to tell you those things and you're stuck with the kit. So, long story short, you have to ask. And if you don't ask, then you can't honestly say when it's wrong that it wasn't as, you know, it was supposed to be. Some people do not take returns, but eBay will back your purchase if it's not as stated. If they state that it's clean and it doesn't have any odors, and then you get it and it's stained up or it has odors, you have recourse. You can tell eBay, hey, you know what? No, neither one of those are it. You can say, tell anybody, you know what, I bought this kit and she told me this, and this is how it really was. And they'll make them. Let me see. I don't think that's it. No, I don't think so. Oh. Well, if I can spell, I can get this message out. Anyway, so you have to ask those kind of questions. You have to ask, hey, does it have this? Does it have that? And you need to ask if you care. That is, you need to ask, does it have a COA? And I didn't ask on Leaf here, and he doesn't. But she did put in the listing, and it led me to believe there wasn't going to be a COA, and I didn't ask. That he was doll parts, is what it said. Doll parts. So when I did get him and open him up, his two legs were wrapped together like they were a separate purchase or something, and then his arms separately, one in each bag, and then his head separately. So it's a chance she bought him that way, and in that case there wouldn't be a COA because she didn't buy a complete doll kit, she bought them in pieces. So like sometimes Bountiful Baby will have just heads on sale, and you might pick up a head, and you're not going to get a COA with that. And then another time you're going through, they might have limbs on sale, and you might pick up 2 or 3 limbs, and you won't get a COA with that either. And now you have a complete doll kit, but there's no COA with it because you didn't buy it as a complete doll kit. Does that make sense? Because it's not a complete doll kit, and they don't give it for incomplete doll kits. Now you can't just buy one and there's a limb missing or something, and that's an incomplete doll kit. They're going to sell it to you as parts. Like sometimes people just want some legs because maybe they messed up the legs they had, or they wanted different legs on their doll or something like that. So they'll buy legs, or they might want different arms because they want full limbs instead of 3/4 or something like that. And so they'll buy that. So it just depends on what you're buying and how you're buying it as to whether or not you will get a COA. And doesn't mean your doll is something wrong with it if it doesn't have a COA. But some people will not buy doll kits without COAs. So what I do is I will, it's authentic, so it's not cheating, I don't think. When I donate dolls, I keep the COAs because they don't care about them. They don't care if they're authentic or not authentic. They don't even know anything about that. They just know you gave them a cute little baby doll. That's all they care about. And then if you do pick up a second, or somebody sends you a kit and they couldn't find the COA or something, you have one maybe if you actually kept the right COAs. Let's put it that way. Not all doll kits are going to have COAs. Bountiful Baby doesn't even give them for artist kits at all. So the artist kits won't have one anyway. But Leaf is what they call a Reborn. A Reborn is made from scans of a real baby. So they take 3D pictures and scans, and they make a mold, and they mold out something that is very, very realistic as to looking like the real baby. Sometimes they put the pictures of the real baby right beside the kit, and you're going, wow, it really does look like the real baby. Okay. Well. Anyway, we're going to get Leaf here all creased up. Creasing is only important if you like it. It's not something you have to do by any means. It's something I do because it adds a little bit of depth perception to the doll when you're painting it. It doesn't look so flat. It looks like they actually have little lines on their fingers. Like, I mean, they're there, but you can't see them. And if you paint over it without doing the creases, then you won't be able to see it hardly at all, if any at all, after you've painted the doll. But see how his little knuckles and stuff show? It looks very, very pencily when you first put it on. But don't worry, because it turns into something less pencily as you're painting your doll. And that is true for heat set and air dry, because I am friends with some air dry artists, and they have told me it's the same way for them. When they're reborning their dolls, that the pencil lines get less pencily. They just look like you just gave it to your kid and said, here, outline everything on this doll with a pencil, and they did. And it just looks just like that, like you didn't want them to really do it, and they just got hold of it and said, look, Mommy, I just outlined your doll. And you're going, oh, you put pencil all over my doll? It kind of looks like that, like a mistake or something. But never fear, it doesn't stay that way. Now, you can believe that, or you can wait till the end when you see my finished doll. And just like I told you in the other video, don't blindly follow anybody. If you want to know if my pencil lines are going to turn into what looks like a real crease, then you need to watch till the end when this doll is finished. And I'll say, can you still see the creases? Do they look like pencils now? Most of the time online, they don't look like pencils anyway. I've noticed that when I go, I sometimes watch my own videos to see what you see, and I'll notice, oh, it doesn't even look pencily anyway when I'm looking at it on camera, but in front of me, it looks so much just like you just drew all over your doll with a pencil. And that is what I'm doing. I'm drawing on my doll with a pencil. But never fear, it doesn't look bad when you're finished. Yeah, I think it looks very good, actually. Now, you can still do it with the paint if that's what you want to do. It's certainly your option, but I just think this is much, much easier, and it looks every bit as good at the end. In fact, I think it looks better because, lo and behold, nearly every time I did it with paint, it washed out. Nearly every time. So, needless to say, I sort of went away from that. I just quit doing creases, as a matter of fact. For a long time, I didn't even do creases because I said, you know, I'm not wasting my time. If it's not going to play through to the end, there's no need to do it. You're wasting your time and your paint and everything. And so I just didn't do it. And then I just said, you know what? I really want creases. I'm going to try again with those creases. And lo and behold, they wouldn't stay with paint. And then I don't know. I was looking at my pencils, I was looking at my doll, and I was thinking, wonder if I can do that with a pencil. Because I'd already been penciling eyebrows on, you know. And at one time I penciled hair as well. I do root now, but I was penciling. And I did tie some videos to this series that show rooting and sealing dolls and mixing paint and all that stuff, so that beginners can know all that stuff without me having to make new videos, because you don't really do it any different. Every time you do it, it's the same. So the same video for me rooting last time is still good. It won't be these two dolls getting rooted, but you will see how to root it all. And I'm just going to tell you right from the beginning, I root differently than other people. Most people are real stuck on using those needles that have 1 or 2 barbs on them or something like that, and trying real super hard to get only 1 hair in a hole. I don't do that because it's just pointless. There's no reason to do it. As you can see from my video, my hair looks good, and everybody, I've just had tons and tons of compliments on my hair from customers and repeat customers, and other people in the doll groups and stuff will go, yeah, that's real nice hair. And when people ask me, what's your secret to rooting hair? I said, well, my first secret is this. Forget all the stuff that somebody else told you. Do what's right for you, And for me, it happens to be using needles that have more barbs. Because if you think about it this way, you'll agree, I think. When you start rooting hair, you're going to have some trouble because guess what? It's kind of hard. And uh, when you want to first start, you're going to be saying, why can't I get any hair in this doll's head? Why isn't it going in? I'm not catching any hairs. I'm trying as hard as I can. Well, you don't have any barbs on your needles. You only have like 1 or 3 barbs on your needle. To me, that's not enough. It's very hard to catch a hair. They're very, very thin, and your barbs are very, very small. And when you only have 1 or 2 or 3 barbs, you don't have much of a chance to catch very much hair. But if you get needles with more barbs on them, you have more chances. So let's suppose this is the first time you're rooting a doll, and you've got the hair and you're punching the needle. Nothing's going in the head. Why does it matter how many barbs are on your needle? Because you can't get a single hair in the head. It doesn't matter if you have 20 barbs or 1 barb. Nothing's going in the doll's head. But if you had more barbs are having a chance to catch a hair. And think about it this way. Let's suppose you do only want 1 hair in every hole, which I don't want that. I don't even try for that. But let's suppose you're trying for that. If you get more, you can pull 1 out. But I go, yay, I got 3 in that hole. Yay. Because yes, I'm gonna own it. My hair is not the same as other people's hair. And I'm okay with that because you're never gonna be able to tell when you're finished that there was more than 1 hair in those holes, because every layer of hair that you put in your doll is got a layer laying over the top of it. You'll never see those roots unless you're doing that real bald-headed baby sparse rooting, which I don't do. I think the doll needs some hair. And now he's got veins. You shouldn't be able to see it hardly at all on camera. And we'll give him some eyebrows too. But many people get stuck on that. They think because those other people are doing it, they have to do it too. And I'm trying to show people, not only there is another way. And you don't have to do the harder method if you don't want to. And you can always revert to that method after you get a little better at rooting. Eyebrows. You don't need scary ones, you just need some. Okay, so now I'm going to pink his face up a bit. You can follow those people. You sure can. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying you don't have to if you don't want to. It's a little bit easier if you follow somebody who's doing a simpler method. Because, well, that doesn't have any paint in it. Let me get another one. You're just learning for one thing. And why pick the harder road? It's like you're going to travel on this journey. But you can take this one road and get all the way there. Or you can take these 15 different roads and try to remember all the turns and everything and get there in a much longer way. Why would you do that? Why would you want to make it harder on yourself than you have to? That's what I want to know. I'm just here to show people there is another way. It doesn't have to be that difficult. And you can always tweak it as you go along and add some more things to it if you don't like what you're doing. But your first goal in any artistic situation is to be able to accomplish something that's pretty. If you're making butt ugly dolls every time because you can't accomplish what those people are showing you, then what good is it? I'm going to show you this easy method. It's super easy. See, I just pinked his face a little. And now I'm going to pounce it around and get it soft and nice. And then we're going to put him, I'm going to do his lips and his nails. And we're going to put him in the oven and bake him. Easy peasy. You don't have to go and try to mix your color because guess what? They're already mixed for you. I use pre-mixed colors. With the exception of the red, I have to tweak it a tiny bit because it's too pink. But there's no need to try to build up flesh layers by using red, yellow, and blue. I mean, you can if you want to, and there's nothing wrong with it if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm here to tell you that you have to put many layers on there to do that. I'm not going to be putting near that many layers on my doll. You can watch me and you can see I'm going to come to the same place they come to, but I'm going to get there in a much easier fashion. Now, they want you to pay. Most of those people who are teaching those methods want you to pay for their videos. And they're going to make it seem like, oh, you're not doing it right unless you do it my way. But I'm going to tell you, there's many ways to get to the same place. Many ways. You can pick whichever way you want. Don't be fooled by somebody saying, oh, if you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it right. Don't be fooled by that. Do it the way that's comfortable for you. You may not like my way. You may. You may want to start my way and change it a little bit up as you go along. You may want to just go, well, she's nuts, I'm not doing it that way, and just never mind what I say altogether. It's up to you. Don't let somebody else make up your mind, because I'm telling you, many roads lead to the same place. No need to take the longer route or the harder route. Why climb over mountains if you can walk on straight ground? What's the point? Unless you want to climb over mountains. I mean, you certainly can if you want to. But why would you want to? It's just harder. And like I said, many roads lead to the same place. And I picked the easy road. I want my craft to be relaxed and fun. I don't want to sweat over every step and go, I just wonder, should I have done that a little different? Should I do this now or this? You know, I don't want to guess and all that crap. I have a method I've thoroughly invested in over the years and figured out on my own, and now I like it and I do it. It's easy, it's fun, it's relaxed. I'm not sweating over the details. I'm just making a beautiful baby. And like I said, many roads lead to the same place. So I'm just showing you a road. It might be the road less traveled, but I'm not a follower. I'm going to do the way I want to. I don't care what other people do. So this is the way I want to. And like I said, don't blindly follow me. Watch what I do. See if you like it. See if you think my doll is pretty. When I'm finished, say, yeah, I like the doll. No, I don't like the doll. I'm not fixing to do that technique on my doll, or whatever you want to do. But if you've blindly followed me from the beginning, you might get to that point where you say, this is nuts, and look what I've done to my doll now. I did that. I did that with another artist when I was trying to follow somebody. And finally, I just said, you know what? I can figure this out. I can. I am a smart person. I can figure this out. And so I sat down and I was literally writing down what I did every time. Step 1, I put this color on. Step 2, I put this color on. And I was figuring it out. When I'd get to the end, I'd go, you know what? I don't think it has enough blush. I should have done this. And so on the next doll, I would do that. And I'd write it down. And if I liked it, I'd go, bingo, I got that step right, you know. And I just move on to the next thing. What do I need to achieve this time? And little by little, I tweaked it all out. And I've been through years of making dolls. I've made every mistake there is to make. Now you can watch me, and you don't have to make those mistakes. That's what I always tell everybody. You know, I'm going to show you a way to paint where I've already made the mistakes for you. I've done all those things that you're probably going to try to do if you don't follow somebody. And I can tell you a little along about some things that are worth it, a try, and some things that are not worth it. I can go, you know, I tried this many times and it didn't work out for me. You can try it if you want to, but it's just not worth it. It's what I'll be saying things like that from time to time. Or I'll be saying, I tried many different other ways and I like this way the best. But, you know, there's other ways you can do it. I'm going to put a little on his forehead too. That's just something that you don't have to do any of these steps I'm doing. But this is how I like to make my dolls because I think they look good this way. And like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. And I'm here to tell you, you can do it too. If you can just pounce a sponge up and down on your doll like this and follow some simple steps, you can do what I'm doing. If I can do it, you absolutely can do it. Now we're going to do his lips just like we did Aspen. We're going to put the thinnest coat on there that we can. I'm going to show you Aspen. This is the one I did in front of you. You can barely tell she has any color on her lips at all. And that's okay. Same thing for her nails. I'm going to show you that. Whoops, she won't sit up there hardly. They have a bulbous head in the back, and sometimes they get a little top heavy and fall over. Here's her nails. You can barely see they're painted as well. Also, okay. You can see it. That's all that matters, is that you can see it. It doesn't have to be thick and globby. In fact, it's not good if it is. We want to put a little in his nose to give him a natural looking nostril. We're going to be putting every color that we put on this doll in his nose as well. But we're going to dab this. We don't want it to look rashy and gross. We're going to just dab it around a little bit to soften the heaviness of the color. We can't dab the lips, so we're going to put the absolute thinnest coat we can get on him. It doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl. We want smooth, pretty lips. If we're not getting that, we're going to get ugly, rashy looking, chapped looking, peeling looking lips. Now, if that's the look you're going for, you might want to glob it on the very first time. It won't be even, it won't look pretty, it won't be any of those things. But if that's what you're looking for, some peeling looking lips, then that's the way you do it. It's not attractive in my opinion. But plenty of people go for that look because sometimes babies are a bit dried out looking. But once again, do you want to capture that in a doll? I don't. I was going to make a dried out baby, but I just don't know if I want to anymore. I was going to try it, but I just don't know. You know, it would be a preemie like this one, but I just can't mess up this beautiful doll trying to do something like that when I don't even know how it's going to come out. The technique is very difficult, I think. You have to use sealer in a certain kind of way and let it peel off and stuff, and then seal over the top of it before it peels all the way off. It's a very hard thing to achieve, I think, and I'm afraid I'll mess him up. He's a pretty kit, and I want him to look good. And I'm not even sure I'll like it after I get, even if I can achieve it. So I'm kind of putting that on hold. Kits are not cheap. And I didn't pay a lot for Leaf because he was pieces. And she didn't have a COA, and I guess she figured he wouldn't sell for a lot. But if you buy Leaf from Bountiful Baby, he's going to cost you about $89. I think that's what he costs. Some of their kits are $79. They even have some that are $69. But I believe that Leaf is $89. And Sleeping Aspen is too. Now, the Awake Aspen is much cheaper because people don't tend to like Awake kits as much as they like the Sleeping kits. So they go for a little less, usually, not always. If it's a super popular kit, it's going to be expensive too. It just depends on the kit and how popular it is. Now, if they're selling tons of them at regular price, they're certainly not going to reduce the price. Bountiful Baby has sales every single day. Sometimes they extend the same sale for 2 or 3 days, like when they had their bodies on sale for $10. They kept that for about 3 days. So I don't know. I got plenty of bodies from them when it was on sale, but I wish I had had more money to get more, because you know bodies are quite expensive too. Sometimes they can cost you in the $20 range. Sometimes when they're having their site-wide sales, they're even cheaper than $10. But I needed a big variety of bodies. They don't always have a big variety on sale. Sometimes they only have 2 or 3 kinds. And I needed a variety because I have a variety of different kinds of dolls that need bodies. And so I snatched up all the ones I thought I needed. And now they're not on sale anymore. So it was a good chance for me to get some bodies I hardly ever get. Now they'll put the bodies that are you're going to mostly use one or two different kinds of bodies anyway, and they go on sale fairly regularly. But if you wanted one of the more obscure bodies that aren't quite as used, they charge a lot more for them. So when they have a $10, any body $10, you want to snatch those up. That's what I do. I try to never buy anything for regular price. I don't like paying regular price. I'm a cheapskate. Okay? I own it. I try to get everything on sale. Magnets when they're on sale, glass when it's on sale, all that. There are many places you can get some of these things. You do not have to get them from a baby site. Some things can be gotten anywhere, like toothpicks. You don't need to buy them from Bountiful Baby. For heaven's sakes, they charge way, way too much for them. You can get a whole box of 500 toothpicks for what? 75 cents maybe? Maybe $1. I don't know. In the baby group, you're going to pay like $2.99 for like 25 toothpicks. Swabs. 25 swabs. I don't know about the toothpicks. I don't really know. I don't know how many they give you for the price, but it's not a lot. I can tell you that right now. It's not very many. And the price is heavily inflated. Because many people want a one-stop shop. They don't want to shop around to get their stuff cheaper. But I'm telling you, you're going to pay way, way too much. I was just making a comparison on polyfill just the other day on another video. But I'll repeat it for you now. Bountiful Baby sells a little tiny 4-ounce bag of polyfill. It costs $5.95. Outrageous too high. They have it on sale right now. If you buy any kit, you can get it for $1.99. Still much too high. But people do it because, oh wow, $1.99, I'm getting that. And they don't want to spend a lot at one time, and they don't want a great big bag of polyfill. I buy my polyfill in a 25-pound box. It comes in the mail right to my door, and it costs $69.99. Now you multiply that out. Add something for tax and shipping. I don't think the shipping, I really don't think there's any shipping, but there might be. I don't think there is, because I order it through Walmart.com. And usually on Walmart.com, if you're ordering more than $35, there's no shipping. So I don't think I pay shipping, but I do pay tax, I believe. So the tax is probably, 10%. So just add $10. That makes it $79.99. That makes it $80 for my 25-pound bag. You can multiply that out. Then you can take 4 ounces times $1.99. 4 ounces times 4, that would be 1 pound. And then you're going to multiply that by 25. So you'll have your pounds and ounces, because they sell theirs by the ounce. So then you're going to multiply by $1.99, and you're going to find out it's extremely too expensive, even on sale. You can do way better by buying in bulk. Yes, it's bulk. I get that. A lot of people don't want to buy in bulk, and that's fine. You don't have to. But I'm saying if you buy in bulk, many, many times you're going to save a ton of money, because buying in bulk is way, way, way cheaper anytime you buy in bulk. So there's that. Also, it depends on where you buy it. Let's talk about glass. Bountiful Baby charges $2.99 a pound for their glass. Highly expensive. When it's on sale, it might be $1.79. Much better. They have good glass. Their glass is great. It's a little bit bigger than what you can get other places, which means it won't go through your stocking. You have to put it in a stocking to put it inside the body of your doll. And so it means it won't go through your stocking as bad as the other glass you buy for cheaper. But it is more expensive. So you have to wait for a sale. I buy my glass from Harbor Freight. Yes, it's for blasting machines to blast the dirt off of automotive parts. As long as you're getting glass beads, it's pretty much the same thing as what you get from Bountiful Baby, but it's a much finer grit. And it will pass through your stockings. So I put that glass in the limbs. You have to weight the limbs too. The glass weights the doll. And you fill the limbs up, a certain point, and you can put that smaller glass in the limbs, and you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to leak out because it's vinyl, for heaven's sakes, But, and then I use the other glass that I get from Bountiful Baby to put in the stockings, to put inside of the body. You save money that way. But I wait till it's on sale. I don't buy it for $2.99 a pound. I wait till it's $1.79, and then I buy about 50 pounds. I'm going to yeah, we have time. I'm going to put him in the oven. It won't take me but a minute. I'll be right back as quick as I can angle him around in that oven and put the lid on and turn it on. I'll be right back. So, I'll be back. That took forever, didn't it? It seems like forever when you're sitting there waiting. I know when I'm watching my video back and I have walked away from the table like that, and I'm going, well, when am I coming back? It certainly didn't seem that long when I was going there to do that task. But the thing is it was probably 1 minute I was gone. But it seems like way, way more, doesn't it? Now we have these two Aspens. They already got their initial face blushing, their eyebrows, all the things you just saw me do to Leaf, they already got theirs in another video segment. So they're ready to move on another step. And so we're going to do that now. Whew, I'm out of breath. I hurried. Now we have to decide, do we like the color of her face just the way it is? Or do we want her a little rosier on her face? I want a soft look. You can see this one is a little softer than that one. But her vinyl is a slight different color. See, I don't know if you can tell on camera. It is super slight. So automatically, the paint's going to look a little different. But they're supposed to represent two separate babies anyway, and every single baby is not going to have the exact same coloring, even if they are twins. And she doesn't even look like identical twins. She looks like she could be a fraternal twin, because heaven knows she looks much more pretty asleep. Much more pretty. But anyway, in this step, we have now baked on the creases. They're not going to easily come off. You can see they don't look as pencily after they've baked. Her nails are done. All of her limbs are that way. So we're ready to move on with our enhancements. I call these enhancements. They're undertones. Either way you call it, that's what it is. But we're going to use this blue brush. This one was dipped in blue. I don't know if there's any blue left on it because I keep forgetting to dip it. So I'm going to try to put a little bit of blue on the bottom of her foot. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. It looks kind of like that. It may or may not show on camera. I'm not dabbing it because it's super, super, super light. And once again, it represents an area of the baby's body that would be very thin skin. And the arch of their foot is one of them. And it's notorious for looking sort of blue. So you don't have to put this on there if you think it's funky or weird. You don't have to do it. But I do it for that little bit of realism. People seem to like it. So I'm doing all 4 of the feet for the 2 aspens as I go along. Now that we've got the blue on there, we are going to move to the red again. I use a lot of red. You're going to see me have a lot of red brushes. By the time I finish doing all the red on both aspens and leaf, I'm going to have a pile of red brushes on my table. Now, since I just put the blue on the feet, we're going to start with the hands. Now, when you want to pink up the limbs, you have to decide exactly how do I, oops, sorry, aspen, exactly how do I want to do it. Some people pink the entire hand. Some people pink just the fingers. Some people pink only the tips of the fingers. It's just a preference. There's just really no wrong or right way to do it. You just pick one you like. When I first started doing it, I pinked the entire hand because it was just easier. And you might want to do that too because it is slightly easier. But I'm just going to pink her fingers because that's the way I like to do it. Now this brush seems to have a lot of paint in it. You see how dark that is? But never fear, we're going to dab it and make it subtle. Most of your undertones are going to be very subtle. You don't want them super dark because they look super weird when you're finished. We want to make sure we're getting the entire finger though, front and back and sides, but not the hand. Like, okay, here's an example. Your thumb really ends right here. This part is not part of your thumb. So you're not going to do that on the baby. You're not going to be painting this part down here, this fat part. That's part of the hand. It's not part of her thumb. So we're just going to do the part that if a baby was sucking their thumb, what part would be in their mouth? That's the thumb. So we're going to do that, and we're going to end it right here on the fingers like that. We're just doing the fingers. That's all I'm doing. If you want to, you can do the entire hand. You don't have to do any of the hand. You can just leave it plain. But I like it. I think it's cute. Most of the things I do because it's cute and people like it. The whole goal here to me is to sell this doll. And if somebody likes pink fingers, heck, I'm giving them some pink fingers, you know? You don't have to do any of these steps. It's not necessary, but I like that. That's cute. Look at that. So we're going to do that to all of her fingers. Well, both hands on both dolls. And when the finger's up like this, you really got to paint it carefully to get both sides. And you have to make sure you're getting the sides between the fingers, everywhere like that. You leave something white, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So we're going to just carefully paint all around this doll's hand and get every finger. All the sides of the fingers. If the fingers were up, we'd get the undersides of the fingers too, but the fingers are down, all but that one. So it is a slight bit easier. When I was doing dolls with open hands, I've already put the limbs up. I could show you, but I've already put the limbs up. You just paint the front, paint the back, paint the sides, and in between the fingers too. I just did Frankie, and he had his fingers are open, his hands are open, and his fingers are apart. I think two of his, on one hand, 2 of his middle fingers are touching, I think. I can't remember for sure, but he definitely does not have a closed hand like this. On a closed hand, you have to be super careful that you're not getting it all over the hand too. Unless you want to. If you want to get it on the hand, then you have to be sure you get it on the hand. But it's a very fine line between doing it correctly and doing it incorrectly. It's not hard, but you have to just make sure you're checking everywhere. So you want to get it fully covered, but you don't want to get anything you're not supposed to get, and you don't want to leave anything that you are supposed to get. So yeah, there's that. So, okay, fingers pink. Now we're going to move on to this one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to come back to these feet. I want to give that blue a little chance to kind of settle down and dry a bit. I didn't dab it because it would just take it off. The blue is very touchy. If you don't have fresh blue on your brush, you're not getting much on the doll. You still notice I'm not dipping my brushes in anything. I'm still using the dry brushing technique. We will soon be moving to wet paint though, because you can't do the entire doll with dry paint because it would just take too long and too many brushes. You would have to have about 1,000 brushes, I think, if you were going to do the entire doll with dry painting. Is it possible? Probably, but I'm not going there. That's just, I don't have that much time left in my life. I just want to get some dolls done before I get too old and shaky to do it. Okay, one more hand and we're done with the hands. And see, it doesn't take very long, but you just have to not be afraid to actually put the paint on the doll. I was terribly afraid when I first started painting to even put any paint on the doll. I was going, okay, once I put it on there, it's on there. I can always sit here and look at the doll and put it on later. I just want to think about it some more. I just kept procrastinating like that. I just wanted to keep thinking about it. And finally, one day I just got brave enough and I just, here I go, I'm going to put it on there. And you go, there's no turning back. I keep telling myself, there's no turning back once I get the paint on the doll. I have to finish it up. And I was scared that I was going to mess it up. Don't be afraid of your paint. Your paint is your friend. It's going to make your doll pretty. All you have to do is step out. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So just do it. Just do it. You'll never become an artist until you start putting paint on the canvas. You can't be afraid to paint. This is your canvas, and you're making a beautiful painting. So just step out and do it. Almost anything in heat set. I don't know how air dry works on this respect, but almost anything can be removed from the doll if you don't bake. So if you're going, I'm just not liking those fingers, you can just get some paint thinner on another sponge and probably remove every bit of it. And if you can't remove it all, you can at least minimize it to a point where it doesn't interfere with you continuing to paint the doll. Now, we're going to work on the feet. On the feet, once again, you can do it any way you want. You do not have to do anything special to the feet at all. Or you can paint the entire foot pink. You can paint just the toes. You can paint just the bottom of the foot. It's strictly up to you. I do what I like. Everybody does pretty much what they like. I'm going to paint the entire bottom of the foot. The only part I'm going to avoid is where I put the blue. I'm going to try not to put red on top of the blue because I don't want purple on the bottom of my doll's foot. So when you're painting the bottom of the foot, you need to get the entire bottom of the foot. If you can see it from the bottom, it's part of the bottom of the foot. We don't want to get it on the sides or on top of the foot. We just want it on the bottom of the foot. We want the little bottom of the foot to look like it's a little bit redder. It's going to look kind of like that. I'm not finished, but that's kind of how it's going to look. It's going to be a pinkish little foot. I've gotten many, many compliments on my little pink feet. Now, you can't see the creases anymore, but that's because it's wet. Once it goes through the oven and dries and all that, the creases will become visible again. What ones didn't wash out. Some of them are going to wash out. I can just tell you that. You're not going to make it to the end with every single crease you put on your doll. So if there's any creases that are super, super important to you, at some point you may have to redo them. Now on the top of the foot, I'm just doing the toes. Once again, you can do the whole top of the foot if you want to. Some people even do part way up on the ankles. I don't particularly like that. I don't think it looks good. But I do like this. I think it's cute. And like I said, I'm looking for a cute, nice looking doll. I'm not looking for super, super, super realism. I don't know just how many babies have just pink toes and not pink feet. But it's what I do. I like it. It's pretty. It's cute. It looks cute to have little pink toes. Look at that. Tell me that's not cute. So now we're going to do the rest of the feet just like that one. We're just going to pink it up. Really, there's no wrong way to do it. There's really not. If you want to do the entire foot or none of the foot, that's perfectly fine. You do it that way. Everybody does their art different. You can't ask Van Gogh to make a Monet. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to do it his way. Each artist you are an artist. This is your canvas. This is your art. You're going to do it different from me. I'm just showing you a way. You can do it this way. You can do it another way. You can do it not at all. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Whatever you like from my art, you take it and you make it your own. And that's the way I teach people. I've taught some people in person, actually. And I told them the same thing. You take what I've shown you today, you go home with it, you work with it, you change it, you make it your own. You get your own little formula. Maybe you go, I want darker pink than that. I'm going to mix my paint darker. Or maybe you're going, I want a different color. I'm going to make a totally, totally different color than she used. Or you might say, I just think that's hideous. I'm not even going to do it. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to like everything I do. I'm just here to show you a way. Look at that. I just think that's adorable. Everybody doesn't think that, though, and that is fine. I just think it's wonderful that everybody has their own way of doing things. Call me crazy, but that's what I think. I think that the world is full of different people for a reason. Because if we were all the same, we'd just be sheep, wouldn't we? Variety is the spice of life. I've heard that said before, too. And people are different. We are different religions. We're different colors. We're different races. We're different countries. We're different everything. And there's no reason we shouldn't be different in our art as well. And we can all get along even if we paint differently. I did have some people who were very critical. Some people are. They're just like that. Oh, no, that's not the way to do it. Well, okay, you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. I'm doing it this way. I'm not going to be told by somebody else that my craft is wrong. It's not. And yours isn't either. If you like it, people are always going, what do we think? Is it good or not? I go, do you like it? Because if you like it, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what anyone else says about your art. It only matters what you think. And wrap your head around that, because some people are going to be very, very, very critical of your work. They may say it's hideous even. Well, okay. Everybody, you know what they say about opinions? Everybody has one. Most of them stink. Anyway, that's what I've always been told. But everybody's entitled to their opinion as well, so okay, whatever. But don't let people tell you that your craft is wrong. It's not. And it's all about what you want to do. You want to make all alternative babies? Well, you can do that. You want to make every single baby Caucasian? You can do that. You want to make them all biracial? Do that. You want to make a mix? Do that. You know, it doesn't make any difference as long as you are happy with it. And somebody is going to like it, and somebody's going to think it's terrible. And I don't care who you are, there's going to be people like that. They're going to say, well, she thinks that's really, really good, and it's okay, but it's not that good. And then there's going to be people that's going to go, oh my goodness, your doll is so beautiful. Everybody's different. But nobody needs to be rude to you. That's not necessary. Okay, pink feet, pink hands, pink, pink, pink. Now, see, if I wanted to, this aspen is a little bit paler than that one. I could darken her up if I want to. I'm going to make her little spot on top of her head a little bit darker because it doesn't even hardly show. And a lot of times, if you don't put a little extra on them, whatever you've done does not even make it through to the end. They just look like a pale-faced baby, which is fine too. If you want a pale-faced baby, some babies are very fair. It's fine to make a fair baby. I'm not saying every baby has to be red. And she won't be red. She'll just have a pinkish background to her face. I've made some very red babies though. And you notice I didn't model. Modeling is something that you have to want to do. And like I said in another video, I believe, if you want to model, all you do is put a layer of paint on in whatever color you want to model. Most people use reds and blues and purples. And you just make a modeling sponge. And you just make, if you want to put 3 colors on, You can put 3 colors on. You just pull out some little holes in your sponge and you make each one sort of different. I made mine, oops, sit up there, Aspen. I made this one and this one. Oh, that's not one. Where'd I put that purple one? Here it is. I made them very, very different, you see? Because you want different patterns on your sponges when you model. I don't really model. I just use these because I was making an ethnic baby and I wanted to darken her up a whole lot. You're going to make a much darker doll if you model. I like my dolls to be a little bit light, not so dark. This is about as dark as I want my doll to be right here. This is a Caucasian baby for me, and I think he has good coloring. I like him. He doesn't have any modeling. He has veins, he has bluing, he has a lot of things, but he does not have any modeling. I don't personally like modeling. You don't have to like it. Everybody doesn't like the same thing. You can like it or dislike it. You can do it or don't do it. It's totally and completely up to you. Okay, I'm going to redo the lips and the nails real quick. We're nearing an hour on this video. I don't like to get them this long, but I do need to get some stuff done before I just cut the videos into tiny little segments. I'm going to do another layer on her lips. What we want to do is have plenty of time, and we do have plenty of time, to build up her lips to the level that we think they should look. And when you get to that level, you know that you're going to say, oh, I like it just like that. And you're going to stop. And depending on how dark or light you want the lips, that is your decision. But we have plenty of time. You don't have to slather it on thick. Every layer we do, we get another chance to paint the lips and the nails. And it's very beneficial to do it this very slow, thin layer way. You're going to like your results much, much better because thick paint is globby and blotchy, and it's a whole lot of things you don't want on your doll. Now, if you're wanting to make something that is going to be blotchy, let's give an example, a baby scratch. Babies sometimes scratch themselves, and some people like baby scratches on their dolls. I have given many of my dolls a baby scratch, but you can give absolutely every single doll you make a baby scratch, but it's not beneficial because people who are looking at your dolls, they're going to be sometimes repeat customers. And repeat customers are not going to want every doll they get from you to have a baby scratch. It's going to be, yeah, another baby scratch. I already have 2 dolls with a baby scratch. I don't want that this time. So, you can do it, but it gets old. That's what I'm trying to say. It gets old after a while. It's like every doll has a baby scratch. But they're cute. They're cute. And I try to now save baby scratches for a specific purpose, and that would be a flaw. If sometimes you'll notice in your vinyl that some part of it isn't coloring the same as the rest of the doll maybe. And if it's on the face, you really need to try to minimize that look as much as possible. Like, here's a little spot on her face. I think I just touched her with the sponge, but if that comes out even more, she may get a baby scratch. Tiny flaws are expected. It's part of the artistic process because you are painting it. It's not like a machine is making it. You are physically doing it with your hands. And there's going to be little imperfections in your art because you're a human being. You're not a machine that does it in a factory and just automatically goes to a certain spot and sprays a color. You are physically painting it. And so little flaws are part of the artistic process. Big flaws are very noticeable flaws. You need to try to minimize them. But if there's a tiny, tiny little flaw, it's just not considered anything to... Some people would strip their kit for that. I'm going, don't strip your kit. Do your best. Love it anyway. And stripping is something you can do. I don't recommend it. It's very harsh on your vinyl. And if you don't learn at the beginning to try to like your art, you're going to want to strip every doll you make because you're going to find something wrong with every single one of them. Believe me, I've been there. You're going, oh, this one's just not good either. But really, there's nothing wrong with your doll. You're just your own worst critic. Everybody is, I think, except really conceited people. They're going to go, I'm the best artist there is, and I just know it. You know, those kind of people. But we do our best, and that's all we can do. We're human beings. We're not machines. These tiny little toothpick swabs, I don't even know what they are. It looks like a toothpick and a swab got married, and this is their kid. You know, it's part toothpick, part swab. Anyway, they're just valuable. You can just use them for so many things. And one thing is cleaning up your messes when you're doing the nails. You just need something really, really tiny to get in that little tiny spot where you got a little bit of the nail color that it didn't belong. And it works. They work real, real good. And also when you're tipping the nails and you're getting it a little bit on the toe, you can just wipe it off with one of them little swabs and bing, bang, boom, you're done. And they're just super, super valuable. And they're not very expensive. I think I got 1,300 of them for like $10. 1,300, that's a lot of swabs. And I also buy these pointy ones. They don't look very pointy right now, but they are. I get them from Walmart. They're Equate brand. Now, you can get them from one of the doll companies, but you're going to pay a lot more for them. And at first, when I did order a starter kit from Bountiful Baby one time. And some of them swabs were in there. And I'm going, oh, wow, some of them swabs are in there. And they look like they're twisted tighter than the ones I've been buying. So they must be better. Not. As soon as you start using them, they just come untwisted. They're not even, I don't even think they're as good. They might be about the same in quality. Yeah, I did that one. Sometimes I can't remember by where I lay the limbs if I've done them or not. So I have to look at them and see. Especially when I'm talking. I don't remember a lot. Did I do this one yet or not? You know, like that. But this is our second coat on the nails and the lips. And you're going to see that by the time we do the third coat, you're going to be going, well, they're looking dark now. Each one adds a little more. And one thing you need to remember, this is another tip to remember when you're painting with heat set. Paint sticks to paint. So even if you can't see the first layer, it's still there because you put it on, remember? Everything gets lighter when you bake, so you might not see it. But you might. And either way, it doesn't really matter because it's there. And paint is going to stick to other paint. And it's going to make the next coat darker and nicer. And so we just need to put our tiny little thin coats on. And don't worry about how long it's taken to build up the nails. Because believe me, you're going to get there, and you're going to get there quicker than you even think. I can say trust the process, but I don't like that sentence. Because it got me one time. I was trusting the process, and oh my, I wish I hadn't. It is a process, and you will learn to trust it when you're doing it yourself and you are deciding yourself. You'll learn then to trust the process. Otherwise, you don't need to hear other people saying, trust the process. It's a risky thing to say to someone because they don't know. They don't know if the process is even any good, but you're asking them to trust it. And I don't do that. Sometimes I'll go, now this is one of those trust the process things, you know. But still, I don't believe in saying that to people. Even though sometimes it might be true. You might need to trust the process. But I don't like hearing it, so I don't like saying it. Let's put it that way. I didn't like it when I heard it from other artists, and it's very, very hard to trust the process when you don't even know what the process is yet. Right? Does anybody agree with me? On that issue, at least. We will be getting Leaf out of the oven. Most likely he's hot still. now that it's warm outside, we're in the 70-degree weather here, even though it is just March. I know a lot of northern states are still having cold weather. And all week this week, we're supposed to have really nice weather until Saturday, and it's going to be in the 40s again. It's trying to turn into spring, and we get a lot of tornadoes and storms because of the cold coming back and it mixing with the hot air, and it causes a thunderstorm and or tornado. We get a lot of them here. We're not officially in Tornado Alley, but we're close. We do get our share. Let's put it that way. I know some states hardly ever, rarely ever get a tornado because they're mostly cold or mostly hot. They don't have all that changing. Tennessee has very changeable weather. In fact, they actually say, it's a saying around here, you don't like the weather? Wait 5 minutes. Literally, you can get up in the morning and it's 40, and before the day's out, it's 80. Literally. And I remember we lived in other cities before we moved to Tennessee, and it wasn't like that. The weather wasn't like it is here. And you go, I can't believe it. In the middle of the winter, you get a day and it's like 60. And you go, it's 60 degrees outside. We can literally go in short sleeves. And the day before it was 30, literally. But anyway, oh, wait a minute. I didn't do other Aspen's lips. Oh my goodness. She needs lips. It's what happens when you're talking. You don't pay attention to what you're doing. And I'm a talker. If y'all hadn't noticed, I can't hardly shut my mouth. I'm a wild talker. I talk about my family. I talk about my life here in Tennessee. I talk about my hometown. I talk about all kinds of things. Talk about my children when they were young. Everything. In fact, people have said, you know what? This one woman actually messaged me on YouTube. And she said, you know what? I don't even make dolls, but I came across your video and you kept me entertained all morning. I said, okay, thank you. Because she was listening to my stories. I talk about, interesting things, I guess. I talk about things like, do you remember this? Who's my age? You can tell your age by talking about things you remember from the past. Who remembers that? And some people go, I remember it. And it's kind of funny sometimes that you can remember such weird things from your past. And I went in a store the other day and I said, I guess you don't have any Big Red, do you? And they tried to give me some kind of chewing tobacco. I said, no, I'm talking about the drink. It's an old-timey drink. Y'all used to carry it, I think. Oh, we don't carry that, they said. I know what you're talking about now. No, we don't carry it. You can't find it anymore. And way back, even before that, there was one called Tiger Red. Who remembers Tiger Red? Who remembers pulling the Cokes out of you had to open this little door, and the end of the Coke bottle was showing you had to pull it straight out of that was the way your Coke was dispensed if you put money in a machine to get a drink out. And they had the little short bottles of Coke and then the long bottles too. And they were the same price. We always wanted the long bottles, but there were people who wouldn't buy the long bottles because they claimed that really and truly they didn't taste the same. It was the short bottles that tasted good. But we just wanted more Coke for our money. We were kind of poor as kids, and a Coke was a nickel, okay? A candy bar was a nickel. I don't remember anything cheaper than a nickel. A nickel, when I was old enough to go to the store, that was 2 doors down by myself and get a candy bar. It was a nickel. A pack of gum was a nickel. Now, when I was too little to remember, there were probably 2 or 3 cents for candy bars and stuff. But I didn't even know the value of money or anything then. I was too little. I didn't even really realize that you paid for things. My mother just didn't discuss things like finances and money and stuff with the children. And so it was like, you mean you got to pay for that? You get to an age where you suddenly know that things cost money and you're going, I can't believe you have to pay for that. All this time, I just thought you just went to the store just to get it. I didn't really, because my mother never talked about it. And I didn't know that things like electricity, I know this sounds really stupid, but my mother literally never spoke about a bill, ever. She thought kids had no business knowing that stuff. And so there was a point in my life when I didn't even know you paid for electricity and water and stuff. I just thought you just got it. Okay? I'm just stupid. I was just stupid because my mother never told me stuff. And then all of a sudden you're finding out, you mean that's a bill for electricity and you have to pay for it? Yeah, you have to pay for it. I go, well, that's absurd. When did you start doing that? Always? Always. Wow, okay. And my mother, when I asked her about it, why didn't you ever tell us stuff like that? I didn't want to worry you about bills. Children shouldn't have worries like that or even concerns like that. Your life should be carefree. And okay, fine. I told my kids, this stuff costs money. I can't just buy you everything you want. And my son said, write a check, Mama. Just write a check. I said, okay, you have to have money in the bank to write a check. I don't have it, so no, I can't write a check. Well, then use a credit card. This little boy was savvy. I said, no, you don't need that. We are not using a credit card because you want a video game. Sorry, it's not happening. Anyway, I just thought, I was way too old. I don't remember what my age was really, but I should have known about bills before then, I think. And I wanted my kids to know life ain't easy. Santa Claus don't just come and leave you free toys. When they did believe in Santa Claus, I told them you had to pay Santa Claus. You got to pay Santa Claus. I know he comes and he brings the toys and everything, but they're not free. We have to pay him. We have to call him up and say, okay, my son wants this for Christmas, and he's going to make it, and he's going to bring it to you, but we have to leave money for him so that they would know that if we couldn't afford to get it, it wasn't our fault. They just thought, well, Santa Claus will get it for me because, he doesn't need money. He has a toy factory, and he just makes it. Peh, okay. And my son was rather young when he figured out on his own there was no Santa Claus. He started out like this. Hey, Mama. He had just lost a tooth. Hey, Mama. I said, what? He was only 5, I think, when he lost his first tooth. Is there really a fairy that flies into your bedroom at night and takes your tooth out from under your pillow and leaves you money? I said, what do you think? He goes, I don't think that's true, Mama. And I said, okay, you're right. There's no little fairy. Mama and Daddy take your tooth out from under the pillow and leave you money. Okay. So then you could just see his little brain the little cog wheels were just turning. Mama, what? Is there really a bunny that comes and hops into your house on Easter and puts stuff in your Easter basket? I don't know. What do you think? I don't think there is. Bunnies can't do that. I just don't think they do. Okay, you're right. Mama and Daddy put the stuff in your Easter basket. There's no big bunny that hops into the house when you're sleeping and puts stuff in your Easter basket. And I just knew Santa Claus was coming next. Mama, what? Is there really a big fat man in a red suit that gets in a sleigh and has flying reindeer and he comes and lands on your roof and comes down your chimney and leaves toys under the tree for you? What do you think? I don't think that's true either. I said, okay, you're right. Santa Claus isn't real. Mom and Daddy are really Santa Claus. Okay, now that I know that you're Santa Claus, it was like, boom, he just switched wheels all of a sudden. Now that I really know that it's you can really just get me what I want. I don't have to worry about, I used to tell him Santa Claus might run out before he got to our house if they were asking for something that was too expensive. Oh, I think Santa's probably going to run out of those. Everybody wants one. You're probably not going to get it. So now he knows that we really do it. So he's going, so now you can really get me the stuff I want and you can't say Santa's going to run out. Oh, good grief. I said, that doesn't mean you're getting everything you want. So after they didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore, I told them, I said, make your list and put it in the order of importance. That doesn't mean you're getting number 1 because you put something down for number 1. It means I'm going to consider it. So make a list and bring it to me by such and such date because I want to get started Christmas shopping. I'll do my best to get you as many things on the list as you want, but I'm not promising you'll get anything on the list, and I'm not promising you'll get them in your order of importance either. You may get stuff that's not even on the list. You may get stuff that is on the list. You might get a mix. I just don't know. Depends on what you put down. But I will do my best to stick to your list. That's what I told them. That way they could be surprised still on what they got, because, they weren't getting that much. And I did have some things in mind that I wanted them to have. And every single Christmas they got clothes because they needed them. They got t-shirts and underwear and socks and things. That was just a given. They were going to get that anyway, besides the toys and stuff. And we also had toy roundup. For every toy that you want to get a new something, for every number of toys that you want to get new, you have to get rid of that many. Because we lived in a very small house, and I said, we're going to bust the seams in this house if we just keep bringing toys in and nothing ever goes out. So, okay, we would start this way. I'd take all their toys out of their toy box and lay them down on the floor. Now, pick your favorite toy and put it in the toy box. Okay. And then I'd go, pick your next favorite, put it in the toy box. Pick your next favorite. And then I'd go, okay, everything else has to get donated. Not this. Okay, what's coming out of the toy box so that can go in? Can I just keep this one too? Okay. You keep that. That's one less toy you're getting for Christmas. No. They wanted the new toys, but they wanted to keep the old ones too. I said, here's the reality. Anything broken or missing, has missing pieces, is just going. And also, for every toy that's coming into this house, something has to go out of this house. We can't just keep bringing new things in. And there are underprivileged children who need toys, and you don't really play with them anymore anyway, because you're tired of them. So I think we should donate them. Some poor little boy who doesn't have as much money as we have won't even get a present. I made him feel guilty, I guess. Won't even get a present for Christmas because you can't let any of your toys go. Oh, I feel sorry. I'll give him this. Okay, that's fine. How about this one over here too? It doesn't fit in your toy box if you want new toys. So let's get rid of it too. No, I can't get rid of that. Okay, put it in the toy box. But they had to understand, one less toys coming in the house for that. That's just the way I raised my kids. I didn't want them to be greedy. I didn't want them to think that everything was about getting. Some things are about giving. And we went to the angel tree, and they each got an angel off. And I said, okay, we're going to buy what this little child wants. This is a little boy. He's your age. I tried to pick somebody their age so they could relate to this person. You didn't know anything about them except their name and their age and what they wanted for Christmas. But the whole idea was these children either had parents in prison or something like that, where they were not going to get any Christmas if somebody didn't pick their name off the angel tree. And it was like, my daddy's in prison and I want him to give me a coat for Christmas. I said, this little boy wants a coat. That's a necessity. That's not even something that's a toy. He wants a coat. Don't you think he deserves a coat? And they go, yeah, let's get him a coat. I said, okay, we're going to get him the coat, and we're going to get him a nice coat, and it's going to be in place of one of your presents. Huh? What are you talking about? That's not for us. I said, okay, you're going to get plenty for Christmas. You don't have to worry about that. He's getting nothing. He wants a coat. Can you give up one present so he can have a coat? Sure. They'd go, yeah, I can do that. Well, one of my sons did. And the other one's like, I don't know, Mom. Well, you're going to. I said, everything's not about getting. Some things are about giving. Anyway, I'm making the video very long because I'm talking about myself again, my family and my kids and stuff. But, I wanted them to learn that some things in life come easy, some things don't. Some things seem fair, some things don't. That's life. You're always, no matter where you go in life and what you do in life, you're going to hit things that are stumbling blocks, so to speak, or you're going to come across people who treat you unfairly or something. And you need to learn that everything's not about you and everything's not about getting. Some things are about giving. Give something of yourself. Give something of yours away so somebody else can have something. And be willing to forfeit just one present on Christmas Day so some little child can have something that they need. They didn't even ask for something they wanted. They asked for shoes or a coat or something like that. I mean, come on. They need it. They need a coat. Their parents are in prison. They're probably in foster care. They probably get hardly anything, if anything, for Christmas. And, them foster families, a lot of times, are in it for the money. Yeah, they feed them and house them, but they don't buy them any presents. And so they have to depend on angel tree. They might have 5 angels on that tree, and they might not even get picked. How sad is that if you don't even get picked? I made both of my kids pick an angel, and it had to be somebody that was their age, and it had to be a boy, because I wanted them to feel some sort of a connection to that person. He's a boy your age, and you're going to get this big pile of toys and all the clothes you need. And he's only asking for a coat. So we're going to get him a coat, And yeah, that's what I wanted for my kids. I wanted them to understand that other people are also important. You're not the only important person. Everybody has equal value in this world, and everybody deserves. You're not the only person that deserves. They deserve too. And let's throw in something extra for them, like let's give him some candy, or let's give him a toy. And in addition to his coat, let's give him a toy. He's your age. What do you think he would like to have? And they'd pick out something they liked, Let's throw that in too. So maybe he can have some joy. Yeah, he's going to be warm now going to school and stuff, but he can also have a little bit of something that he can play with, And that, to me, it meant everything for my kids to want to get involved. Even though they weren't actually paying for it, I was paying for it. I wanted them to be involved, Pick something for this little boy to play with. A game, some cards, something he can play with. A truck, whatever you would like to get. Pick something. And they did. And it's just rewarding to know that you did something for someone else. Because, man, I'd almost rather give a gift than get one. Almost rather. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love to get gifts. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying that, there's so many people in the world who just don't get anything, They go through Christmas after. We were those kids for a lot of Christmases. My mother didn't have any money, and we knew, we didn't even ask, because we knew that it was going to break her heart, because she could not buy us anything. And we would just be ever so happy if we could find some old wrapping paper left over from some other Christmas and wrap up empty boxes and put them under the tree and pretend we had presents. And we saved them after Christmas was over, and we put them up so next year we could put them under the tree again, because we were that poor. And, to us, we would go in our room and we would pick it. Well, we all had the same room. We all shared the same room. But we would go pick something that we already owned and would give it to each other for Christmas presents. Like, I'd have a doll I didn't play with anymore. I'd give it to one of my younger sisters for a Christmas present. And the ones who didn't have anything to give, we'd make Christmas presents as well. We'd get some construction paper or something and make our mother a Christmas card, and she'd just act like it was the best thing in the whole wide world. And it just made us feel so good. And I know my mother cried herself to sleep at night sometimes because she couldn't do better. And she could barely put food on the table. I am not playing. 5 kids, and she's alone, and she only has low skill level for jobs. She just couldn't do any better. She couldn't. And we knew that. We knew in our heart she couldn't do any better, and if she could, she would. But so we didn't complain. But I know her heart was breaking inside. It's almost about to bring me to tears that my mother had to go through that. And, we'd always tell her it was okay and stuff, but she didn't believe that, She wanted more for us. And, yeah, it's breaking my heart right now. Because my mother had to go through that. And she didn't deserve that. But anyway, before I start blubbering like a baby, I'm going to get off here and get these 2 little babies in the oven and get them baked. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.